Greetings, everyone. This is your one and only host, PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie, here for a very special Predictions with PCJ. We're checking out WrestleMania 40. 40 years of WrestleMania. Mostly so-so ones. Some good ones. Not a lot of not good ones. But today we're checking out the predictions for WrestleMania 40. We're going to cover some news and rumors happening, and then we're going to get to our fan questions. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in or turned in your fan questions via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you can always just email them to me as well. My email and everything is on all the videos you can check out. Remember to follow me on Twitter or X at PopCultureJunkie2. I will be live tweeting during both nights WrestleMania. Not sure why we still have to have two nights. It's ridiculous. We definitely need one single night. Saturday night is better. I grew tired over the years of doing Sunday night pay-per-views where I would be up till 10:30, 11 o'clock at times on a Sunday night and then got to go to work the next day. Saturday's much better, and why not just do it one night? We live in a world now where everybody gets a WrestleMania match. Basically meaning WrestleMania is just for anybody who works for the company. You don't have to try really hard to get on the show anymore, and it really kind of waters it down. I'm not a fan of it. Just because you're an employee and you've worked there for the whole year doesn't mean you automatically get on WrestleMania. You need to work for it and earn it and get that spot. They should cap it off at, a certain amount of matches, and then just whoever can get in, they get in. And if you're not on the show, you try harder for next year. That's how I feel. Let's get into some news and rumors, though. If you haven't already listened to it, you definitely got to go check it out. CM Punk was on a YouTube show this past week, hosted by Ariel Hawani. He's hosts a MMA podcast. This podcast interview was great and very informative. Gave you a really good insight about CM Punk and his time in AEW. Talks a little bit of what he could talk about with the Elite, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and gives us a very good insight of what we've all suspected about Tony Khan being more of a fanboy than an actual boss when it comes to his wrestling company. And it's a very good interview. I highly recommend it. There's too much to go over and share without really dissecting the entire podcast interview. But I highly recommend you check it out. I've got so much more respect for him than I ever did, which not to say I didn't have respect for him, but I really was impressed with how well he handled himself in this interview. But again, check that out for sure. Speaking of interviews, Ronda Rousey, MMA fighter, former UFC champion, former WWE champion. Ronda Rousey was recently interviewed on a news show this past week. She's promoting her book, and we all know when somebody has a book coming out, they always got to drop some big stories surrounding them, some controversy to get you interested to go buy their book. And Ronda Rousey had a interesting story to share. She mentioned that back in 2022, while backstage hanging out with some of the other talent, Drew Gulak came walking by her and allegedly tugged on the drawstring of her sweatpants and then just kept walking. She said she yelled out across the hall to him, "Hey, what the hell? What are you doing?" And he turned around and just said, "Oh, hey, yeah, whatever, sorry about that." Basically, she was upset that it seemed like he was just easily going over and putting his hands on her or teasing her or anything like that. And it was more upsetting to her that the people surrounding her didn't find this upsetting either. Drew Gulak has now come out saying it was just an error. It was a little accident. He went to go shake her hand and accidentally caught her drawstring. I don't know if that's really what happened or not. I don't know what happened. None of us do. But very interesting accusation here. I'm not sure if anything is going to fall back on Gabo Gulak with WWE. He is still employed there, so we will see what happens there. Finally, the last thing I have on news and rumors is newly signed AEW talent Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks. It's come out saying that as part of her contract in AEW, she has her own locker room. That's a great way to build bonds with your new coworkers. Have your own locker room. If this is true, this is actually not surprising based on how over the top and how big Sasha or Monet's head has gotten about herself. If you haven't been watching AEW, her presence has not made a difference. It actually I don't know if you want to say her presence has affected them in a negative way, but it hasn't helped. Their ratings have not climbed one bit. They've actually dropped in the past couple weeks. So, very interesting if this is an actual fact. Yeah, so I wonder, I would like to know what the negotiations were like between her and WWE before she signed with the AEW, because I'm sure she wanted a obscene amount of money, and I'm sure Tony Khan was willing to give her whatever she wanted because he's more interested in just having a former WWE women's champ on his roster with some controversy around her to get some buzz. But she needs so much that WWE gave her that AEW is not. She needs somebody handling her scripts, handling her promos, her fashion wear. If you haven't seen her on Dynamite recently, I don't know if she still has her husband helping with her outfits. I don't even know if they're still together, but she needs something. Her look is terrible, and her promos have been so cringe. So I don't know where she's going to go from here, and I really don't see her coming back to WWE and setting anything on fire with her momentum. I think it's going to be just, hey, I'm back one day, but they're probably going to job her out for how petty and ridiculous her walkout was a couple years ago. All right, let's go on to the match predictions for WrestleMania 40. Again, we've got 2 solid nights of matches. Way too many, a lot of filler. Let's get into it real quick. Starting off on night 1, we have Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Why? Why is this even on WrestleMania? This is a house show or a SmackDown match. Why is this on WrestleMania? I'm going to go with, I guess, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. He's kind of a newer guy of the 4. Yeah, so I'm going to just go with Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio are going to get the win. Then we have another match that was just thrown together. Then we have Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca Belair versus Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and Asuka, the tag champs, in a throwaway 6-person tag match. Why, again, is this on WrestleMania, except to give everybody a participation trophy? Jade Cargill has not had a match in WWE. She was in the Rumble. She did okay. It didn't look impressive, as people want to say. She's had a couple of promos, or one promo, and it was, just like we knew it would be, because she can't cut promos. And they're too afraid to put her in a singles match. People say, oh, we should have had Belair versus Jade. Why? Why so soon? We know Jade can't wrestle. We know she came in green as the grass. She needs training a lot. And why hire somebody that they need this much training? If you're just hiring somebody because of how fit they look and how much muscle they've built up, do other things with her. Not a wrestler. We know she can't wrestle. This is not going to be a successful conclusion like people want to think. And Belair is still green herself. She's been terrible in her promos. They're very cringe. I mean, we know they're scripted. She doesn't have the ability to cut promos on the fly. And her matches are just routine. Nothing wow. I really just don't see what anybody else sees in Belair. And Naomi, she's back to job. From walking out on the company 2 years ago, she's been back as a jobber. But all of a sudden, she's paired up with these other 2 at WrestleMania. I don't get it. Sadly, they're going to have Belair's team win because they keep bringing up Belair's undefeated at WrestleMania, which means nothing to me. But why have the tag champs and Dakota job out to these 3? But again, it's Jade's first match technically. It's a 6-person tag, but it's still her first match in the company. So they're not going to have her lose. They're not going to have Belair lose her streak in a 6-person tag. So chances are you're going to see Jade pin Dakota. We'll go with that. All right, next up we have a 6-pack tag team ladder match. Again, something kind of put together just to get a bunch of people on the show. Ooh, we got Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They are the champions. Technically defending the belts, even though this is a ladder match where you have to win your belts to be able to remain champ. We have DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. The Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth. Kofi and Xavier. A-Town Down, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bane. That is a lot of names. Many do not need to be on this show. Why not just have Judgment Day versus DIY versus Awesome Truth, triple threat tag match, and it could just be a tag match without the stipulation. I would much rather the latter match be used for another match. We'll get to that later. But who's going to win? Well, they also announced that since they still have two sets of belts, they've had these two sets of belts for over a year and a half now, since the Usos were the supposed undisputed tag champs, and then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn won them at last year's WrestleMania. They still have the same two belts that everyone's carrying. They've announced now that the first team to pull down a belt will win that championship, and then the second team to pull down the other belts will be that champion. So they're splitting the tag belts again for no reason. Okay, why not just get rid of this, release a brand new, better looking set of tag belts, and have one tag team be the one tag team champions, and they defend the belts against all the teams across both shows? Just makes more sense. I don't know, but again, they have to have champions on every Raw and every SmackDown for reasons. So who's going to win this? I predict it's going to be R-Truth and Miz winning one set of belts. And part of me wants to say DIY because I'd rather them win the belts anyways. But I have a feeling it's going to be A-Town Down winning the other set of belts. Next we have Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Yeet versus no Yeet. Brother versus brother. I have no interest in this. I'm tired of the bloodline. It's overplayed. It ran its course long ago, long before last year's Mania and earlier. So who's going to win? An Uso. I don't know. I really have not followed this as well as others have because I just don't care anymore. I'm just going to say Jay, I guess, because they're calling him main event even though he's total mid-card. They're both mid-card. Neither one is going to ever be a world champ. But I'll say Jey Uso. Next we have the Intercontinental title. Gunther defending against Sami Zayn. Okay, this match could be amazing and steal the show for sure. But this is the one I think should have had the ladder match stipulation and not a one-on-one. Gunther has defeated everybody. He's been champ for so long. I feel this could have been Sami and Gunther and throw in like four other guys and you have a six-person ladder match for the IC title. You protect Gunther by not having him eat a pin or a submission, and someone else gets the belt. But we have a one-on-one match. Sami, who's already been IC champ, so it's not that big a deal if he really wins the belt again. They're giving him a really good build-up. They're making it like he's Rocky going up against Apollo or going up against actually Mr. T or Clubber Lang, the way they did their thing about Sami Zayn saying, "I'm afraid." You know, all we need is somebody yelling, "There is no tomorrow. You got to do this." You know, Chad Gable, that was one line you should have dropped on Raw right there. Who's going to win? I have a feeling it's going to be Gunther. I think they're going to have him keep the belt. But I would want Sami Zayn. But I'm going to go with Gunther retaining. And then we have Women's Championship match. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. This is actually one of my picks to be a really good match. Becky can make anybody look like $1 million. Rhea Ripley has vastly improved in the ring, and she's gotten really good on the mic lately. Who's going to win? I want Becky to win. Ripley's title has been okay. It's been better than recent women's championship runs, like Belair's especially and such, but I would definitely want Becky to get this belt and go on to have some other feuds with some of the newer women that are showing up. I'm going with Becky. Finally, on night one, we have Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns and The Rock. And the winner of this decides the stipulation for the following night between Cody and Roman, if it's going to be Bloodline Rules or not. So if Roman and Rock win, then it's Bloodline Rules for the next night, where basically it's a no DQ, no anything, interference, all that stuff can happen, etc. It's interesting that we're getting this tag match for a number of reasons. I've shared my feelings on this a lot. The Rock, you know, he's had a lot of ups and downs lately. People don't want to maybe acknowledge that. You know, his last several movies have tanked. Black Adam was terrible. It bombed at the box office. But The Rock, you know, he's been out of the ring for many, many years, and we know he looks like $1 million because he can just, you know, juice himself up before he films a movie role. But as far as conditioning and stamina, he was blown up in those matches against Cena 10 plus years ago. And it's not going to be any better this time. I mean, he's pushing mid-50s here or so, right? I don't know how this is going to go. I don't see it going well. I'm sure Rollins and Rhodes are going to be carrying the bulk of this match because they, obviously Roman needs someone to carry him. He still hasn't improved himself, but I'm going to say it's going to be Roman Reigns and The Rock. They're going to get the win. They're not going to have Rock come back and job, and they're not going to have Roman get pinned. So it's going to be Roman and Rock getting the win, and then all of the cards are stacked against Cody the next night. So that's definitely going to be the easily prediction, I believe. Night 2. Let's start off with Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain versus Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in a Philadelphia street fight. Why? Why? Another six-person tag match just thrown on this card to give everybody a shot at being on Mania. No. Okay. It's going to be Kross and Authors of Pain. Who cares? Really, I mean, this is blah. We have LA Knight versus AJ Styles. This could be a great match. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to go with LA Knight. He needs the win more than Styles does. Then we have the U.S. title triple threat match. Logan Paul defending against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. This doesn't need to be a triple threat. Orton doesn't have any place on this card, honestly. And that's not just my personal feelings about how terrible of a wrestler and person he is, but Logan Paul versus Owens has been a good feud. There's no reason not to have the two of them culminate this at WrestleMania in a steel cage. That would be perfect. That would be amazing. I'm looking at it's going to be Paul pinning Owens. They're probably going to protect Orton, so yeah, they'll probably have Paul pin Owens. Io Sky defending the women's title against the 2024 Royal Rumble winner, Bayley. Bayley, of course, formerly the manager or the main leader of Damage Control, and now Damage Control kicked her out, and I'm looking forward to this. Two of my favorite women wrestlers, so I'm really looking forward to this. It's got to be Bayley. Bayley needs this win. She needs to, total face turn and get that belt. So I'm going with Bayley. Even though I love Io Sky, I don't want her to lose. But either way, I'm looking forward to this match. This might be the most. This might be the match that I'm looking forward to the most on night 2. Followed by this one. Seth Rollins defending the new world heavyweight title. We still haven't had anybody else hold that belt, so Seth Rollins still the original and only holder of that belt, but I have a feeling Drew McIntyre is going to get the win here. Okay, he won the Elimination Chamber, correct, to get this shot, so he's challenging Seth Rollins. Originally, we were supposed to get CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, which obviously would have been amazing, but I'm loving this feud, and I love how they've intertwined Punk in the Rollins and McIntyre feud. Obviously, I think it's going to be McIntyre getting the win here, and when Punk returns, it's going to be McIntyre and Punk feuding over the belt. But I'm going to go with McIntyre. And finally, we have the main event of WrestleMania, the full main event WrestleMania. Okay, of course, everyone likes to say there's 2 main events. No, there isn't. Main event is the last match of the entire pay-per-view, not just halfway through. All right, so we have the main event of WrestleMania now. Roman Reigns defending the WWE title against the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble winner, Cody Rhodes. Second year in a row, Cody is getting a challenge to challenge Roman for the title. They cannot have Roman win. They just cannot. This is ridiculous. It was overplayed last year when they had him retain, and it was a joke then, but thank you. And I am just tired of Roman. I know Vince is punishing us because we didn't accept him since 2015 as his new golden boy, but it's ridiculous. I know it's been like, he's been around so long as the person holding the belt that a whole new generation of wrestling fans have come in to start watching the show, and they're gushing over him thinking, oh, this is what the champ is, so he's the best. And it's like, no, your parents are failing you. Go show them some stuff from the mid-2000s, from the 90s and the 80s. Show them some real talent that can actually cut promos without a memorized script, who can actually wrestle matches and carry matches and not be relied to be carried by all his opponents, which is Roman. Show me any good match you think he actually had an amazing match, and I'll show you who carried him. Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose. the list goes on and on. AJ Styles, LA Knight. I mean, so many guys. Kevin Owens. Good Lord, he's carried him.
But who? Undertaker fight the Ultimate. Maybe the Undertaker fight the Ultimate Warrior and King Bundy.
Oh, that's a heck of a triple threat. There's little PCJ giving his wishes. You want King Kong Bundy versus the Ultimate Warrior versus who? Undertaker?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, maybe they're doing next pay-per-view of the Undertaker versus King Kong Bundy and the Ultimate Warrior and Andre the Giant.
Oh, that's a great fatal four-way. All right, so who's going to win? Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Who's going to win?
I think Macho Man.
Macho Man. I'm going with Cody because I think it's ridiculous that he's still the champ for so long. So I'm going with Cody Rhodes. All right, we're going to go on to fan questions and then we're going to wrap this up. So starting off with fan questions, Josh Floberg, what match will steal the show? I'm going to say it's going to be either Becky and Rhea or Drew and Seth. I think those two easily are going to steal the show. Kitten Hunter. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, Josh had another question. Favorite WrestleMania memory and match? Obviously, it's going to be Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. I got to be there live and in person. Thanks to my then girlfriend, who's now my wife. She got me tickets for my birthday that year in 2008 for the following WrestleMania. And I missed out on WrestleMania 17 when they were here in Houston. I was broke, couldn't buy tickets. And thankfully, I was able to get to go to WrestleMania 25. We did go to the Fan Fest and the Hall of Fame, so we just went to everything that weekend. It was a great memory and experience. So, right there alone, best. Kitten Hunter, what are your thoughts on the CM Punk interview? I loved it. I thought it was great. He was so good. He made sure to talk about what he could talk about. He mentioned about some NDAs that were asked to be signed by Tony Khan. But he handled himself very professional. He could have dragged a lot of people through the dirt, but Punk is at that age, and he's also very professional. He has always been a professional. He's conducted himself very well in a lot of different situations, but he also was very careful to be like, you know what, here's what happened, this. And he wasn't trying to make himself look any better. He wasn't trying to make anyone else look any worse than they made themselves. So I thought it was a great interview. The Man Called Stan, if you could change one thing about WrestleMania, what would it be? It would be, obviously, the two-night thing. It's a joke. I just don't understand, except for the money reasons. Okay, sure. Yeah, they get more money by making people buy tickets to half a show by going on one day and you go to the other half the next day. It's like people, again, participation awards are not going to work in wrestling. Making everyone feel like, oh, we all get to go. We all get to be part of it. It makes no sense.
I think King Kong Bundy and Andre the Giant are going to win the belt.
All right. So yes, I would change back to one day. It should be Saturday only, and there should be a limit on the amount of matches. Let's say 8 matches max. That's enough for all the titles and any real feuds you have going in. Not to mention, we don't need the women's Mae Young, whatever they call it, battle royal. We don't need the Andre the Giant battle royal anymore. I mean, something like that, sure, keep it on SmackDown like they're doing anyways. That's fine, but we don't need to have. Let's find a way to get everybody on the card, even if they have no real feuds going on or a title, match. Christy Martinez, what are your predictions on Raw after Mania? That's interesting. I want to know if there's going to be anybody to debut. I want to know if there's going to be anybody that's going to come out and attack Cody if he wins the belt. Are we going to see anybody return? I hope it's a good Raw after Mania. We've had some stinkers after that, but we'll see. Yes. Go ahead. Sleepy the Clown. Screw this night 1, night 2 BS. Give me WrestleMania on Saturday only. Limited to 8 matches and participants have to earn their spots. Wow, are you reading my mind? What's going on here? Am I bugged? Who's okay? I mean, you got a name called Sleepy the Clown. That's a little All right. Frankie B. When Vince was kicked out, did he take with him the footage of Owen Hart falling that was supposedly locked in a safe in his office? Oh, he probably did. I mean, I'm sure he's got a lot of things in that safe of his. Remember years ago when Shane came back and he challenged Undertaker, or McMahon had him face Undertaker at WrestleMania in the Hell in a Cell, and Shane was like, "I know what's in your safe." It's like, "Oh yeah, we knew. Now we know all those NDAs. That's what was in there." But yeah, he also had footage of Owen Hart of the fall. Yeah, and I'm sure there's other things in there. Mommy is my mommy. There is no chance Cody is winning, right? Oh God, not another year of Roman, please no. I feel you, brother. It's been played out. It's done. We don't need it. Filet-O-Fish. Damian Priest cashing in versus Seth and Drew. Wow, we forgot. He still has that briefcase. Because it's... What? That's how forgettable Damian Priest is. He still has that? I forgot about that. I don't know if they would do it at Mania and ruin this. I don't know. I'd rather him be far away from Priest. I'd rather him be far away from Drew and Seth. Give Drew his WrestleMania, title win and leave it be. Let Priest try to cash in on Roman. Sure, I don't care. Or Cody and just get jobbed. But Priest is not a world champ. He does not need to successfully cash in. Vince McMahon. Kiss, Marry, Kill. Io, Bailey, or Asuka? Ooh. Let's see. I'm going to go with marry Io. Kiss, Asuka, kill Bailey. Yeah. Stunning Steve. WWE is trying to claim Roman is breaking Hogan's WWF title record, but they are mixing up the belts, right? Roman held the Universal for longer or WWE title? Please explain. That's true. They keep trying to say Roman is about to break Hogan's WWF title reign record because Hogan held the belt for like 1,400 and something days. Yes, Hogan held the belt from, 1984 till losing it in 1988 on the main event against Andre. It was like 4 years. Roman has not held the WWE title for 4 years. He's held it for 2. Maybe about 2.5, roughly, I think, whenever he won it at WrestleMania from Brock. The belt they're talking about that he's held for almost 4 years now is the Universal title, the secondary title, that red strap belt that he won from Bray Wyatt, or The Fiend, in 2020. That's the belt Roman won and has held on to. But they just replaced that belt and got rid of it. And now he is the WWE Universal Undisputed Champ. But they don't have that belt anymore. They have a brand new title, meaning the Universal belt is bye-bye. The old WWE title is replaced by this new version of the belt. So yes, no, Roman still has a couple of years before he will have a actual WWE title reign longer than Hogan. But they're going to believe whatever they want to believe. They still want to say the World Heavyweight belt that Seth Rollins has is connected to some other thing. But there's people that still want to try to say the short-lived World Heavyweight title that was given to Triple H in 2002, they want to say, oh, that belt is the same one that Ric Flair and Sting and Hollywood Hogan held. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. The WCW title was brought over to WWF during the Invasion storyline and everything, and then Jericho lost it to Triple H at WrestleMania. The next night on Raw, Triple H got rid of those belts, and they revealed the brand new Undisputed belt, replacing the WWF title and retiring the WCW belt. Then they came out with the World Heavyweight title in late 2002 from Eric Bischoff, which was a smaller replica, and yes, it did look similar, but it was a smaller replica of the old NWA WCW belt, but it was not the same belt, and it had no connection. The World Heavyweight title, the World Heavyweight Championship, only existed from 2002 to 2013. And then they now have this new belt starting in, 2023. And lastly, Drew, do you watch AEW? If yes, thoughts? I really don't, because I don't have access to it. I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in a number of years. But I watch, like a lot of people do, I watch through Twitter and just see highlights on there. I catch what I can, and then I like to listen to recaps and other podcasts who talk about it, and that's how I find a lot of my updates on it. But I just see highlights until I have access to it. So maybe one day they'll put it on a streaming channel that I have access to, kind of like how we're going to be getting WWE on Netflix soon, which will be nice. I'll be able to watch Raw again for the longest time I've been having to watch it on Hulu, which unfortunately they edit that down for time. So.
And against that's the Power Rangers.
Yes.
Because now it's on Netflix and we don't have Netflix.
No, we don't have Netflix right now, but we'll get it definitely. All right, guys and gals, thanks as always for tuning in and checking out my predictions and just hearing me vent and rant. We'll probably be venting a lot come this weekend. We'll see how things go. Share with me in the comments your predictions. Who do you think's going to leave Mania with a belt, or who's winning, or who's showing up, who's going to be making appearances? We never know. I'm very excited because my boy will be watching with me on Saturday night, so we're going to be watching WrestleMania for the first time together. He's never seen a WrestleMania show, and we're going to see if it catches his interest, and we'll find out his thoughts on this wackiness and craziness as well.
And I'm playing Zelda.
You are playing some Zelda right now. All right, guys and gals, we're going to head out, and we will talk to you later. Thanks again for watching. Remember to follow me on X, PopCultureJunkie2, live tweeting all WrestleMania weekend.
Little PCJ.
Little PCJ and Big PCJ signing out.